The US and Australia to dramatically step up efforts to stop illegal fishing in the Pacific. Foreign Minister Murray McCulloch warned that the world's last sustainable fishery was running out of time. An estimated $305 million worth of tuna have been fished illegally from the region within a year. In China, a severe drought has forced the government to look for alternative ways to find water. Well, they've been digging deep underground in search of the much-needed resource. But as Melissa Chan finds out, this may create an even bigger problem.
Rows and rows of young wheat crop, tufts amidst the dry brown land. They say it's the worst drought Shandong province has seen in 200 years. China's in a crisis, but this is one for the world to watch as well.
Food security in China affects food security globally, simply because of China's population. So if our production's cut and we begin importing food, that would raise the cost of food globally.
Officials have come up with the slogan, "Fight the drought, dig the well." At this site, they've been working for about a week now, and the plan is to dig 60 meters deep into the ground.
Pulling up groundwater to irrigate the fields. It's a strategy officials have deployed time and again, but by tackling one problem, they've created another. Groundwater in China is fast disappearing, with workers boring deeper and deeper every year. Depressions dot the North China Plain here, where the earth floor sinks into former water cavities. Combined with the fact much of the water in the country is polluted, that leaves very little fresh water for farmers to use and people to drink. Farmer Kong Ling-he did not wait for the government to step in, but in desperation dug his own well to save his wheat crop.
In the beginning, I could pull water up every 2 days, then every 15. There's less and less.
After this, there is nothing else. When water tables fall, springs dry up, rivers stop flowing, and lakes disappear. The well-intentioned efforts here will actually dig China into a deeper hole. Melissa Chan, AlJazeera, Shandong Province, China.
This is Al Jazeera, and these are your headlines now. Witnesses tell Al Jazeera that more than 60 people have been killed in violence on Monday in the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Security forces have reportedly started looting banks and other government institutions. We're also getting reports that the People's Congress Hall or Parliament was set on fire. Meanwhile, anti-government protesters say they've taken control of Libya's second-largest city, Benghazi. Eyewitnesses tell Al Jazeera the cities of Al-Bayda and Sabha are also in the hands of protesters. Well, earlier, the son of Libyan leader Muammar al-Gaddafi appeared on state television, warning of civil war.
We will not give up Libya. We will fight until the last man, the last woman, until the last bit of energy. We will not leave our country to let Al Jazeera laugh at us, Al Arabiya or the BBC or any traitors who live abroad. We will not allow that.
Well, in Yemen, witnesses in the southern city of Aden say a teenager has been killed and 4 others wounded in fighting with soldiers. Protesters have gathered in the capital Sana'a for an 11th straight day of anti-government demonstrations. President Ali Abdullah Saleh is describing calls for regime change as unacceptable. A group calling itself the Youth of February the 14th is calling for security officials to be tried for attacks on protesters in Bahrain. A new day of protests began on Monday for crowds camped out at Pearl Roundabout in the capital. They say they want the entire ruling Al Khalifa monarchy to go. And Indian courts upheld the death sentence for the sole surviving gunman of the 2008 Mumbai attacks. Mohammed Ajmal Amir Qasab was found guilty last May for his part in the attacks, which killed 166 people and wounded more than 300 others. A suicide blast in Afghanistan's Kunduz province has killed at least 26 people and wounded 36 others. The bomber detonated explosives at the entrance to a government office where people were queuing for ID cards. Local officials say all of the dead are civilians, including children. And a suicide bomber in Iraq has killed at least 10 people and wounded 15 others. The attack in the northern city of Samarat targeted a police building. That's it for now. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Richard Gisbert, and you're at The Listening Post. This week, the Palestine Papers, the fallout for Mideast negotiators and the news organizations that broke the story. Legal battles over corporate public relations between documentary makers and big money multinationals.
They attempted to keep it out of the theaters and away from the public. Myanmar,
Warning signs for Aung San Suu Kyi in newspapers there. And voices of freedom in Tahrir Square in our web video of the week. For Palestinians and Israelis, it's been a long time since the Middle East peace process has given cause for optimism, let alone hope. For every roadmap, there's been a roadblock. For every set of negotiations, there's been a deal breaker. But over the years of coverage, people inside and outside the region felt they had a pretty good handle on what was going on, what was on the negotiating table. That all changed last month with the publication of the Palestine Papers by AlJazeera and the UK's Guardian newspaper. The trove of secret documents contained diplomatic correspondence between Israel, Palestine, and the United States from 1999 to 2010. The revelations made headlines, put AlJazeera in the crosshairs of the Palestinian Authority over the network's role in the story, and led to the eventual resignation of Saeb Erekat, the chief Palestinian negotiator. Our starting point this week is the story that changed the way the media report one of the biggest ongoing stories on the global news agenda, the Middle East peace process.
The papers are the largest leak in the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
These papers put you in the room with Mahmoud Abbas, with Ariel Sharon, with Hillary Clinton, and that is absolutely unprecedented.
Behind every leak, there's always a story behind the story. Who leaked these documents and why?
More bombshells today relating to Palestinian documents leaked by AlJazeera.
These documents did not come from Washington or Tel Aviv. They came from somewhere in Ramallah.
The papers that brought the closed-door negotiations out into the open were obtained by AlJazeera, which then shared them with The Guardian. The two outlets say they looked at 690 internal emails, 275 sets of meeting minutes, 64 draft agreements, and 54 maps and charts. They published their findings simultaneously on January 23rd.
It was such a groundbreaking revelation of the four core issues of the conflict: Jerusalem,
to concede significant amounts of land in East Jerusalem,
refugees,
4.7 million Palestinians are registered as refugees,
security, borders,
pattern of deceit, powerlessness, and despair,
and much, much more. It was a dynamic that took you into